Russia is a huge country with an incredible variety of nature, culture and people. It is not surprising then that Winston Churchill described Russia as a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. To help solve this riddle, but also because you seemed to like my latest video on Russia, this video targets what I believe are the 11 biggest upsides of this country. With 17.1 million square kilometers, Russia is by far the largest state on Earth. And with about 148 million inhabitants, it ranks 9th among the countries with the highest population. But one of Russia's greatest strengths is its incredible diversity in every aspect. To illustrate this a little more clearly, I will give you a few examples. Although the Russian language is used everywhere as the official national language, there are at least 100 other languages spoken on the territory of Russia. Among the largest are Tartary, Bashkir, Kuvash or Moldovan. As you can see, many languages we have never even heard of are spoken by thousands to hundreds of thousands of people in Russia. This diversity also extends to religion. 71% of the population is part of the Russian Orthodox Church. 15% are atheists, 10% are Muslim, and 3% are other Christians. But Judaism is also represented in Russia, in spite of the fact that about 1 million Jews immigrated to Israel after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which resulted in the fact that today 1 in 5 Israeli citizens speak Russian. There even is an autonomous Jewish oblast, which can be compared to a canton or state. Buddhism is also considered one of Russia's traditional religions and is part of the Russian historical heritage. Originally a strong religion in southern Siberia, Buddhism now is widespread throughout Russia, with many converting Russians. Russia's diversity is a result of the fact that 100,000 years ago people were already living in the country that is now part of Russia. This is why so many different branches of human culture have been able to develop. Since diversity truly shapes almost every aspect of living in Russia, it will be addressed more often throughout the video. The first aspect where diversity plays a role is in Russia's climate. Probably out of ignorance, Russia is often associated with a cold, hostile climate. This is not wrong, but simply half the truth. From glaciers in the Franz Josef Land to temperate deciduous forests in Kaliningrad, from forest tundras in Kamchatka to dry steppes in Kalmyks, from semi-deserts east to the Volga River to taigas in Krasnoyarsk, and from West Jordan marshes that are larger than Switzerland to all-year green forests in the European north of Russia, almost every vegetation zone on Earth is present in Russia. Many European people, and maybe also US Americans, are fans of a warm climate, with lots of sunshine, sea and beaches. Russia also covers that. In the southwest of it, at the coast to the Black Sea, there are countless cities that live solely from tourism and the climate that dominates there. Among the most famous are Sochi or Anapa. If you want to combine this climate with a little bit of a big city life, the southern Russian metropolis of Krasnodar, which is located less than 100 kilometers from the Black Sea, may be a good idea to further investigate. 100 kilometers. What is that by Russian standards? No wonder that this city has been bursting at the seams in recent years. With an average temperature of 12 degrees Celsius throughout the year, and in summer several months of 30 degrees Celsius, the city can compete with the climate of northern Italy. In the far east of the country, near Vladivostok, even monsoons can be found. Although this city is located on the latitude of Florence, the summers are very mild and winters are cold. The city is described as Russian San Francisco because of the fact that it is located on the Pacific Ocean and because it was built on many hills. Although, according to both of the city's age, San Francisco should rather be described as American Vladivostok. In most Russian metropolises, there is a continental climate, so the winters are freezing cold with lots of snowfall, but in summer it is hot, dry and days are long. Nature goes hand in hand with the previous advantage. Russia's nature is as diverse as its climate. From flat plains stretching over thousands of square kilometers to gigantic mountains, there are countless types of landscapes to admire. The Elbrus, for example, is with a height of 5,642 meters, the tallest mountain of Russia, and depending on the definition of the borders of Europe, also the tallest mountain of the European continent. Russian culture is, perhaps because it is so diverse, difficult to put into words. An American who emigrated to Russia told me that he noticed the following points in the Russian mentality. In his eyes, Russians are more spiritual and always try to identify a reason or cause to events. A fact worth knowing is that in St. Petersburg, it's very likely for you to run into poems that residents of St. Petersburg stuck to the wall. And if we are talking about St. Petersburg, which was the capital city of the Russian Empire for about 2 centuries, it is worth mentioning that it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, cultural center of Russia. As the 4th largest city in Europe, it also contributes significantly to European diversity. He also described that in Russia, He feels more like part of a united great nation, and not everyone seems to be so individualistic. Another point that the US American mentioned was freedom, since, in contrast to other countries, especially in Europe, neighbors and people around you do not constantly control you, you feel more free. People do not care what you do, how you do it or why you do it. Combined with, as long as you don't live in the city center, the vastness of the countryside, you can do things that probably would be difficult to do in other European countries due to strict laws and controls. For instance, a Russian YouTuber flew a Mercedes SUV to an altitude of 300 meters using a Soviet helicopter just to drop it from that height. This for sure would never be possible in Switzerland. In general, people who move to Eastern European countries appreciate the more conservative policies. Especially the refugee crisis that hit Europe back in 2015 is still not completely solved. When asylum-seeking people from the Middle East or North Africa are admitted to enter Russia, they usually are qualified workers who actively participate in the welfare of the state. Other than that, Russia doesn't seem to be interested in open borders. Furthermore, Russia grants asylum to South African farmers who feel threatened by high crime rates in order to integrate them into the economic sector of Russian agriculture. Russia also offers a simplified migration process for people that are fleeing from Ukraine, since Russians and Ukrainians share a lot of similarities in culture, identity and also language. Another political advantage is the fact that families receive 6,000 euros or $7,000 per child born. Families are allowed to use that money on the child's education or improving the housing situation. The taxes in Russia are, compared to other European countries, not too high. For people who are tax resident in Russia, only 13% of the income has to be paid as taxes. For non-tax resident highly qualified specialists from abroad, this figure is at 30%. The highest income tax rate is at 35% and has to be paid for lottery and other winnings and prizes. Russia definitely is a country of records. Although this doesn't really is an advantage of Russia, it still shows what is possible in this country. Moscow is, by population, the largest city in Europe and therefore offers many opportunities for business and entertainment. In fourth place among the largest cities in Europe is St. Petersburg, which was mentioned earlier. Moreover, the biggest skyscraper in Europe with a height of 462 meters is situated there. But the capital city of Moscow occupies second, third, fourth and fifth place in the list of the highest skyscrapers in Europe. The sheer dimensions of this metropolis are hard to imagine. Moscow's metro network is the one with the deepest tunnels and stations in the world. With more than 2.5 billion passengers per year, it is also one of the most heavily used subways worldwide. The stations of the Moscow metro are known as underground palaces due to their sometimes very sophisticated architecture. 9 million people use it daily, which is more than the London Underground and New York metro combined. Probably one of the most interesting advantages is the cost of living. These are significantly lower, especially in smaller cities or rural areas. If you live off 2,000 euros per month in Berlin, Germany's capital city, you don't even need 1,250 euros per month in Moscow for the same standard of living. Therefore, the cost of living in Moscow is more than 37% lower compared to Berlin. In St. Petersburg, they are over 50% lower and in Sochi over 55%. As the Russian ruble tends to weaken, life in Russia is becoming financially more attractive. Russia has a tremendous economic potential. One example for this is the story of the German farmer Stefan Dürr, who moved to Russia in 2003 and bought a small farm. Within 16 years, he was able to build up an agriculture enterprise with an unimaginable area of more than 1,600 square kilometers or about 405,000 acres. That is more than twice the area of Singapore or almost 1.5 times the area of Hong Kong or the Faroe Islands. With an annual turnover of 175 million euros, it is one of the largest agricultural companies in the world. On the other hand, US sanctions affect trade between Russia and the rest of Europe as well as the USA in a negative way. Although Russia became increasingly isolated within the European economy as a result of it, it became more self-sufficient and strengthened its economic ties with Asia and the BRICS states of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Many agricultural and meat products used to be imported, but thanks to sanctions and financial support to Russian farmers, Russia now produces the goods that used to be imported itself. As you see, the Russian market is challenging, which brings many opportunities for smart entrepreneurs. Russian cuisine is very healthy and rich. Among the most famous dishes are borscht, a vegetable meat soup, extra thin pancakes, shashlik, sirniki, similar to sweet, very thick, crude pancakes, pilmeni, known as dumplings, as well as everything related to potatoes. Dishes are often refined with regional spices, dill, mayonnaise or butter. The last upside is the fact that in Russia, perhaps because of the great variety of nature and people, one can practice many different lifestyles. An exciting city lifestyle in Russia's vibrant cities, an independent life as a self-sufficient person in harmony with nature on a dacha in Russia's beautiful landscapes, or a sporty ski and surf lifestyle at the Black Black Sea coast can be lived. Undoubtedly, there are also some downsides. For example, pessimism, low wages, high bureaucracy, or the Russian language that is not so easy to learn. Nevertheless, I see Russia as a country with a lot of potential. Furthermore, I see many similarities between Russia and the USA. Both countries are huge. In both countries, the population works a lot. Both are dependent on the car because of their size. Both kind of live in their own world, and maybe you find some more. This Google Street View kind of reminds me of the USA. It was taken in southern Russia. What do you think? But even this of Vladivostok is quite similar to the hilly appearance of San Francisco. If you are interested in more videos targeting Russia, please have a look at my latest video about moving to Russia. It is linked in the video description below. Don't forget to subscribe for free to not miss any new videos about the world's interesting countries and cities. Thanks for watching.